Thursday morning, and around this time every Thursday, we check out the good, bad, and on-demand recommendations of our movie critic, James Luxford from Stratford upon Avon. Morning, James.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on with us this morning, particularly this week of all weeks, a week in which, well, Daniel Craig himself said at the premiere of the Bond movie he was hoping might help save the cinema industry. I mean, you've been going to the cinema, haven't you, since it all back opened again back in May? Have you seen full cinema screenings?
I think so. I've seen one or two. I tend to go to press screenings, which are obviously always full. But I've been to a few public screenings, and they're always sort of reassuringly busy for the time I'm going. And I particularly for this film coming up. I've heard reports from various chains that things are just really picking up because this is a big movie that everyone wants to see. And just, anecdotally, everyone I speak to has booked a ticket for this week. And I think that's going to be a good introduction. I think there's a lot of people who have sort of dipped their toe, so to speak, going back and trying out being back at the cinema. I think this might bring people back, hopefully, for the long term.
It was awesome last night. I went to the midnight screening at the Vue in Leamington. We're talking No Time to Die, of course. James Bond, I would say 95% full last night. It'd be lovely to be back in the cinema and sit there with your popcorn and watch it. But I know you've seen it, James, so thumbs up, thumbs down, good, bad. What did you make of it?
I mean, it'd be a bit disappointing if it was in the bad, wasn't it? I definitely put it in the good. So obviously Daniel Craig's final film as Bond sees him taking on a terrorist named Safin, who has a link to his lover, Dr. Madeleine Swan.
I met your new 00. She's a disarming young woman.
You ever flown one of these things before?
Nope.
Go on.
I think if anyone who has seen it already, who's been to those midnight screenings, will know what I'm talking about when I say it's one of those films with so many surprises, it's very difficult to review. But I thought it was terrific. I really enjoyed it. 2 hours, 45 minutes, which means there's room for all the action you'd expect, plus a kind of a tying together of lots of previous Daniel Craig films, of one long arc that comes together, I think, quite beautifully in this final film. I think some of the surprises will divide audiences. I think there's going to be a lot of people talking about this as they leave the cinema, but everyone will be talking. And I think, I went on Tuesday. I got to take my dad to the press screening, which was great fun. And I was flooded with messages. Any good? What's it like? And I recommended everyone see it as soon as you can, because I get the feeling this is one that might be spoiled online by seeing the wrong post or something like that. Yeah. Go along, see it yourself fresh, and decide for yourself.
And what did your dad make of it?
He loved it. I think, it's one of those sort of in-jokes between me and him. I've been doing this for about 15 years now, writing about movies, and I always seem to miss getting a +1 for one of the Bond films. I started with Quantum of Solace, which unfortunately I couldn't get into. I got to see Skyfall, but it was during the day when he was at work, and a similar situation with Spectre. But finally we got him there, and luckily the studio put on a really nice press screening where they're giving out martini cocktails, and it was a really nice thing to bring my dad to. And I think we were sort of big IMAX in London. I think there was a wonderful way to watch it.
I bumped into these two guys last night. Bertie and Daniel both got dressed up for it. Midnight showing, 1:45 in the foyer at the Vue in Leamington Spa. Bertie in sky blue suit, tie and trousers. Daniel in full black tie with an odd job hat on as well. And I caught up with them after the show as well and got their reaction to what they just seen.
Fantastic. Whether it's your first or 25th Bond film, You got to go to the movies to see it.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely enjoyable.
Okay, and
As for the plot, we're
Yes.
not licensed to spill.
and the duration, the length. I mean,
Fabulous film. Fabulous movie.
yeah.
You kept entertained all the way through, so it's a good twist.
And the atmosphere when you walk out at the end.
Yeah,
Everyone kind of
Well, I think they're a bit tired.
Everyone's very thoughtful.
thoughtful, poignant, thoughtful, and kind of a. I sort of sensed, when you open those doors and come out in the foyer, everyone in the foyer is looking at each other. Kind of go, did you see what I just saw? And did you expect? And it stayed with me, and that's what I'd say about this Bond movie. It stays with you.
Yeah, to be honest, I wish I'd have thought of that license to spill line for my own review. But it is one of those movies that as we were walking out, normally at a press screening, you get a sort of a round of applause, or sort of a bit of cheering. Everyone sort of left a little bit awestruck, like you said, there at that screening. Everyone left going, the sense that everyone will be talking about this in a couple of days, a few days, a week. It will be something that people will be talking about for a while, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your good. What's your bad?
My bad is The Starling, which is on Netflix now. Melissa McCarthy plays a bereaved mother who deals with the loss of her child through a combative relationship with a bird.
The bird obviously thought you were a threat.
I am now.
Get the hell out of here! Go!
You familiar with stage 3 of the grieving process?
Ah!
It's anger,
Comes after that.
depression.
Great. I can't wait.
No, for comedies, things like Bridesmaids. This isn't comedy, though, is it? It's a drama.
No, it's a drama, and it just wasn't for me. I don't think. I think it's a premise that might have sounded good in a pitch meeting or down on sort of when they were putting the film together, but it doesn't quite to come together in practice on screen. It's got a good cast, McCarthy there, who you heard, as well as Chris O'Dowd and Kevin Kline. But it's a bit wasted here. One of those cases of just sort of an idea that starts well but sort of peters out.
Starling is out on Netflix right now, which leads us to your on-demand mention for this week.
It's the documentary Whitney, Can I Be Me on iPlayer now. Nick Broomfield's documentary about the pressures surrounding Whitney Houston in the years leading up to her untimely death.
Whitney Houston actually died from a broken heart.
You gotta know who you are before you step into this business. You probably wind up being somebody that you don't even like.
If she were an artist today, she probably would still be here.
It's worth pointing out, Nick Broomfield, of course, done lots of stuff in the 70s and 80s, usually politically skewed, weren't they? Some of his previous work, political behind-the-scene documentaries. This is a very different sort of step change for him.
It's a different area, but it is that kind of more investigative style, if you like, looking into what really happened. And I liked it. It raises some interesting questions about how pop stars and famous people are treated and the effects of fame and the people that surround them and what their motives might be. It's not, comprehensive about her life, but I think it does show a side of Whitney Houston you might not have seen and raises some questions that you'll be thinking about, I think, for a while after seeing it.
On the BBC iPlayer right now, Can I Be Me? The documentary of the life of Whitney Houston. James, always good to hear from you, but this week in particular, get your steer on the Bond movie. Fantastic stuff. Have a good weekend. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
James Luxford, their review of Bond and good, bad and on-demand picks for this week.
Phil Upton. BBC